listen to the entire book?
No, I think I'm on the third or fourth chapter.
Okay, we'll keep listening to it.
I know I got an hour and I got like 4 hours more to go.
Okay. Yeah, it's real good. It's one of those ones that you should read or listen to at least once a month.
And this is an entrepreneur book.
Yeah, it's a financial comprehension book. Yeah.
So no, this teaches you financial literacy.
Yes, that was the word I was looking for. Literacy. It will make you financially literate. What is up with my Wi-Fi?
It's like, okay, I want to become financially literate, and at the same time, I'm where like I'm to a point like, okay, I know what I want to do. I want to do this because I'm 18. Let me help out future me.
You know I'm live, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, I'm still bringing on YouTube.
I was like, let me help out future me. Where do I start? That's always the stump. I'm actually excited for the hardships to come. I don't know why. I'm more excited for the hardships than the positives because it's like I don't lose. It's just a learning experience to contribute to me winning more in the future.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, the outside looks so beautiful. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out where do I start when it comes to investing my money because I know right now I want to do like invest my money in cryptocurrency. It's like I want to invest in the cryptocurrency. Then I want to look at stocks and shares. Get those two things down. Then I want to move forward on my luxury brand that I want to do with J1, and then get on real estate after that.
One thing at a time, son. Don't scatter your.
I know these are
effort.
Pushed out.
Okay.
The first thing is going to be cryptocurrency. This is just like the bare bones roadmap of when you want to do these 4 things, spread it out over the years. Now, jot down what you're going to do for this one, what's going to be in between, what you're going to do for the next one, what's going to be in between, what you're going to do for the next one, in between. It's like in all there's 8 points. There's a point in the middle. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got a big point, little point, big point, little point. Little point's the middle, big point's the actual point.
Okay. Sound like a good plan. But what I would recommend is put your strength in the first one. If that's the one you choose to work on the first, focus all your attention there. You can label out those other things that you're going to get to, but focus on one at a time.
Yeah, because when you focus on cryptocurrency, but I don't want to get too started on this. Because I'm
geek out on it. When you geek out on it, you learn everything about it, and your understanding will begin to. You're going to pass that learning curve, and then everything is going to speed up. It'll be a little slow at first, but if you focus on it and don't allow yourself to be scattered in a million different places, you will start seeing some traction. Tiffany, peace and blessings. Lavon, blessings. Joy, shalom, shalom. Shayla, that's Wabu, great rising.
My goal when I get up and going is to get a BMW M4. Oh my God, I want it. Mom, I love JDMs, but Uncle Jonathan started talking about BMW. I was like, oh, for real? I was like, I asked him, what do you think is the best BMW? I don't know, a spaceship.
We're just having our morning chat while I'm getting this stuff started. Let me put this up. Go ahead.
You know what the spaceship is, right?
Uh-huh.
Are you sure you know what the BMW spaceship is?
Yes.
That thing is huge in the inside.
It is. It's beautiful.
It's crazy. But, yeah. I know. This is...
Okay. Well, Deuteronomy. Bring us up Deuteronomy chapter 6. Okay. All right, so we'll finish this conversation a little bit later when we go ahead and get started. Happy Sunday, beautiful people. It is November. It's not November. It's December. December the 5th, 2021. Day 319 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count is day 987. Today we're reading Proverbs 4, 5, and 6. And then we are going to pick back up in the rereading of the true authorship of the New Testament, because we found the printed version, and those missing pages we now get to hear because you never heard it. If you don't have the printed version, you haven't read it, and you haven't seen it in the PDF that I put out, because for some reason whoever screenshot it left out a good little chunk, right? And that good little chunk is very, very important, right? But you all know it by now because we just went through Caesar's Messiah and Shakespeare's Secret Messiah. So you probably, when you hear it, be like, okay. So it won't be your first time, but you're going to really understand it. So let's go ahead and do the Shema chapter. In Deuteronomy chapter 6, remember we started reading the whole chapter for complete clarity. Yeah, you couldn't get off the PDF? Oh, it's good, I'm telling you, look. When your eyes are open, your eyes are just opened, right? Okay. A call for wholehearted commitment. These are the commands and decrees and regulations that Yahuwah your God commanded me to teach you. You must obey them in the land you are about to enter and occupy, and you and your children and grandchildren must fear the Lord your God as long as you live. If you obey all his decrees and commands, you will enjoy a long life. Listen closely, Israel, and be careful to obey. Then all will go well with you, and you will have many children in the land flowing with milk and honey, just as Yahuwah, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Listen, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, he is God alone. And you must love Yahuwah your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength. And you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Yahuwah your God will soon bring you into the land he swore to give you, where he made a vow to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is a land with large, prosperous cities that you did not build. The houses will be richly stocked with goods you did not produce. You will draw water from cisterns you did not dig, and you will eat from vineyards and olive trees you did not plant. When you have eaten your fill in this land, be careful not to forget Yahuwah, who rescued you from slavery in the land of Egypt. You must fear Yahuwah your God and serve him. When you take an oath, you must only use his name. You must not worship any of the gods of the neighboring nations, for Yahuwah your God, who lives among you, is a jealous God. His anger will flare up against you, and he will wipe you from the face of the earth. You must not test Yahuwah your God as you did when you complained at Massa. You must diligently obey the commands of Yahuwah your God, all the laws and decrees he has given you. Do what is right and good in Yahuwah's sight, so all will go well with you. Then you will enter and occupy the good land Yahuwah swore to give to your ancestors. You will drive out all the enemies living in the land, just as Yahuwah said you would. In the future, your children will ask you, what is the meaning of these laws, decrees, and regulations that Yahuwah our God has commanded us to obey? Then you must tell them, we were Pharaoh's slaves in Egypt, but Yahuwah brought us out of Egypt with his strong hand. Yahuwah did miraculous signs and wonders before our eyes, dealing terrifying blows against Egypt and Pharaoh and all his people. He brought us out of Egypt so he could give us this land he swore to give to our ancestors. And Yahuwah our God commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear him so that he can continue to bless us and preserve our lives as he has done to this day. For we will be counted as righteous when we obey all the commands of Yahuwah that he has given us. Jen, good morning. Trina, hey girl, hey, that's Wabu. All right, beautiful people. So let's get started. Flip on over to the book of Proverbs. Chapter 4. We're doing 4, 5, and 6 today. A father's wise advice. My children, listen when your father corrects you. Pay attention and learn good judgment, for I am giving you good guidance. Don't turn away from my instructions, for I too was once my father's son, tenderly loved as my mother's only child. My father taught me, take my words to heart, follow my commands, and you will live. Get wisdom, develop good judgment. Don't forget my words or turn away from them. Don't turn your back on wisdom, for she will protect you. Love her, and she will guard you. Getting wisdom is the wisest thing you can do. And whatever else you do, develop good judgment. If you prize wisdom, she will make you great. Embrace her, and she will honor you. She will place a lovely wreath on your head. She will present you with a beautiful crown. My child, listen to me and do as I say, and you will have a long, good life. I will teach you wisdom's ways and lead you in straight paths. When you walk, you won't be held back. When you run, you won't stumble. Take hold of my instructions and don't let them go. Guard them, for they are the key to life. Don't do as the wicked do, and don't follow the path of evildoers. Don't even think about it. Don't go that way. Turn away and keep moving. For evil people can't sleep until they've done their evil deed for the day. They can't rest until they've caused someone to stumble. They eat the food of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. The way of the righteous is like the first gleam of dawn, which shines ever brighter until the full light of day. But the way of the wicked is like total darkness. They have no idea what they are stumbling over. My child, pay attention to what I say. Listen carefully to my words. Don't lose sight of them. Let them penetrate deep into your heart, for they bring life to those who find them and healing to their whole body. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Avoid all perverse talk. Stay away from corrupt speech. Look ahead and fix your eyes on what lies ahead of you. Mark out a straight path for your feet. Stay on the safe path. Don't get sidetracked. Keep your feet from following evil. Next chapter, Proverbs chapter 5. Linda, morning. Proverbs chapter 5. An immoral woman. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen carefully to my wise counsel. Then you will show discernment, and your lips will express what you've learned. For the lips of an immoral woman are as sweet as honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is as bitter as poison, as dangerous as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead straight to the grave. For she cares nothing about the path to life. She staggers down a crooked trail and doesn't realize it. So now, my sons, listen to me. Never stray from what I am about to say. Stay away from her. Don't go near the door of her house. If you do, you will lose your honor and will lose to merciless people all you have achieved. Strangers will consume your wealth, and someone else will enjoy the fruits of your labor. In the end, you will groan in anguish. When disease consumes your body, you will say, "How I hated discipline. If only I had not ignored all the warnings. Oh, why didn't I listen to my teachers? Why didn't I pay attention to my instructors? I come to the brink of utter ruin, and now I must face public disgrace. Drink water from your own well. Share your love only with your wife. Why spill the water of your springs into the streets? Having sex with just anyone. You should reserve it for yourselves. Never share it with strangers. Let your wife be a fountain of blessing for you. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. She is a loving deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast satisfy you always. May you always be captivated by her love. Why be captivated, my son, by an immoral woman, or fondle the breast of a promiscuous woman? For Yahuwah sees clearly what a man does, examining every path he takes. An evil man is held captive by his own sins. They are ropes that catch and hold him. He will die for lack of self-control. He will be lost because of his great foolishness. Last chapter for today, Proverbs chapter 6. Lessons for daily life. Let me just say something real quick about chapter 5. Listen, probably if you don't really understand Proverbs chapter 5, here's a good example about not drinking water from everybody else's cistern, which it goes on to tell you, which is having sex with everybody else except for your spouse, right? Because what's going to happen is if it doesn't consume your life, which it will, if you continue on in that way, there are a few things that could happen. But when it begins to talk about how it's going to start eating away at your pockets, you ever think about how? It's because of children who could possibly be born into this union that's not with your spouse, and then child support comes, and then now you have to spread out your money into different households to take care of those things that you have done, and for 18 years, sometime longer, depending on if they go to college or not, right? Speaking from experience, right? Everybody knows by now, but it's we learned this really, really good early on in our marriage, right? So you have to be really careful, not just men, but also women as well. So it's especially, and that's not the only way either with a child. It could be somebody that's just absolutely crazy, right? And want to come in and completely destroy your home, right? So that's why you should just stay faithful to your union. I'm gonna just say that, right? So I just thought I really love chapter 5 because we got a really good dose of that early on in our marriage, right? And how every single word of it is true. Proverbs chapter 6, right? We just got free of a debt. What's this year? 2021. I say 2018. 2019. I think it was 2019, September 2019. Yeah, so guys, you have to be really careful. Guard your union with all that is in you. All right. Lessons for daily life. And I'm going to post something today, something that'll help married couples kind of work through issues in life when it seems kind of hard, you don't know what to do. This is always kind of like a good just kind of step back and just kind of look over some things and see if you can kind of work through some stuff. It's just like little steps that married couples can put into practice that should help you stay away from things that could really damage your union, right? Okay, so you don't make decisions that you didn't think about while you're hot-headed or while you possibly may be at odds with your spouse, so you don't get yourself in trouble or any more trouble. I'll post that a little bit later. I'll post it on Facebook and on YouTube. It's going to be in YouTube in the comment section. It'll probably be a picture of me and my husband and the whole little thing inside of there. Okay, but I digress. Lessons for daily life. Proverbs chapter 6. My child, if you have to put up security for a friend's debt or agree to guarantee the debt of a stranger, if you have trapped yourself by an agreement and are caught by what you said, follow my advice and save yourself, for you have placed yourself at your friend's mercy. Now swallow your pride and go and beg to have your name erased. Don't put it off. Do it now. Don't rest until you do. Save yourself like a gazelle, escaping from a hunter, like a bird fleeing from a net. Take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bones. Learn from their ways and become wise. Though they have no prince or governor or ruler to make them work, they labor hard all summer, gathering food for the winter. But you, lazy bones, how long will you sleep? When will you wake up? A little extra sleep, a little more slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. Then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit, and scarcity will attack you like an armed robber. What are worthless and wicked people like? They are constant liars, signaling their deceit with a wink of an eye, a nudge of the foot, or the wiggle of the fingers. Their perverted hearts plot evil, and they constantly stir up trouble, but they will be destroyed suddenly, broken in an instant, beyond all hope of healing. There are 6 things Yahuwah hates. No, 7 that he detests. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that kill the innocent, a heart that plots evil, feet that race to do wrong, a false witness who pours out lies, a person who sows discord in a family. My son, obey your father's commands and don't neglect your mother's instruction. Keep their words always in your heart. Tie them around your neck. When you walk, their counsel will lead you. When you sleep, they will protect you. When you wake up, they will advise you. For their command is a lamp, and their instruction is a light. Their corrective discipline is the way to life. It will keep you from the immoral woman, from the smooth tongue of a promiscuous woman. Don't lust for her beauty. Don't let her coy glances seduce you. For a prostitute will bring you to poverty. But sleeping with another man's wife will cost you your life. Can a man scoop a flame into his lap and not have his clothes catch on fire? Can he walk on hot coals and not blister his feet? So it is with the man who sleeps with another man's wife. He who embraces her will not go unpunished. Excuses might be found for a thief who steals because he is starving. But if he is caught, he must pay back 7 times what he stole, even if he has to sell everything in his house. But the man who commits adultery is an utter fool, for he destroys himself. He will be wounded and disgraced. His shame will never be erased. For the woman's jealous husband will be furious, and he will show no mercy when he takes revenge. He will accept no compensation, nor be satisfied with a payoff of any size. I love the book of Proverbs. Let me tell you, sometimes there are days and years in my life where I wish that was the only book I stayed in to help steer me from some terrible decisions that I made along the way. Christy, hey girl, hey. Let me see this. Hold on. Okay, y'all. Let's hop on over here to the true authorship of the New Testament. We paused on page 7 after we read this chart, this Greek chart with the numbers, and it gave you what each letter represented numerically, right? Okay. So we're just going to pick up right after that in section 2 of this numbers portion. Okay. The subheading is In His Public Writings as Josephus. Read the first couple of pages of his Vita, which is also his purported autobiography, and you will see he uses in order the following numbers. 24, which is Jesus in small numbering, but it has it written in Greek, which is, it looks like INSOUS, but he has Jesus in parentheses. So 24 represents Jesus in small numbering. The number 9, the 9th letter was I, which stood for Jesus, and it has the Greek lettering again. It's like INSOUS. It looks like an N, but it might not be an N. The number 14, which was equivalent to 60, hence KP. Remember yesterday it did a couple little examples, and it showed you that KP means Calpurnius Piso, which is also Josephus, right? So it's giving you all these little codes on how you can see them scattered throughout the New Testament and how they use it. Number 16, the 16th letter in sequence in the alphabet was P, pronounced pi, as in pie in the sky, Jesus. Number 19, Piso in small numbering in Greek was 19. 26, KP by the sequence system. 600, the letter X pronounced ch in Greek, which is the first letter of Christos in Greek. No, hold on, I think I said that wrong. Okay, it was 600 by the initial system. The number 80, P, which stood for Piso, was 80 in the initial system. Remember, initials are like the initials of your name, so that's what it's talking about in the initial system. Instead of putting the whole names, they use the initials, hence why it's called the initial system. 80 was P, which stood for Piso, was 80 in the initial system. The following are the main numbers the Pisos used in the New Testament and in their public writings, and which have been used since by others, and why they used them, that is, what each number represented to the Pisos and to others who later knew the secret. Number 14, this 14th letter by the sequence system stood for 60 and therefore KP. So we know the number 14 and the number 60, they add up to the same thing in their numbering system, and both of them stood for Piso. Number 19, Piso was 19 in small numbering, That is why in Judaism, the prayer against the minim was the 19th prayer. The number 20, an allusion to the 20 pieces of silver for which the first Joseph, and in parentheses it has Joseph in Egypt in the Jewish Bible, was sold. Number 22 is Christos, and they have Christos in Greek, and Christ in parentheses. Christos in Greek small numbering was 22. 24, it has the Greek term for Jesus. Jesus in Greek small numbering was 24. That is the reason the Jewish prayers, the Vidu, Shamu, Bagandu, etc., contains not 22, as it would if only the 22 letters of the alphabet were used, but 24. That is also the reason the Jewish canon was organized into 24 books, and that Psalm 24 is recited after Torah readings except on the Sabbath, and the reason the Jewish dispersion was caused by the 24 minim. Number 26 is the letter K, the 10th letter plus P, which is the 16th letter by sequence system. 27, they got the Greek spelling for Pliny. In Greek small numbering is Pliny, 27. And that was why the New Testament ultimately contained 27 books. The Jews answered Pliny by reciting the 27th Psalm during the Rosh Hashanah season. Number 30, the 30 pieces of silver. Incidentally, Piso chose Flavius as a part of his fictional name, Flavius Josephus. He spelled it in Greek, and it has the Greek spelling of it, so that its letters would total 30, because he was alluding to the 30 pieces of silver which he had created in the story. Flavius meant gold, that is, yellow gold in color. He had changed the 20 pieces of silver of the first Joseph into 30 pieces of silver of the second Joseph, which is Jesus, his creation, and spelled gold so that it would total 30 and be secret allusion to his story. Also, by the sequence system, F of Flavius was the 21st letter, and I of, it's a Greek word, hold on. Trying to see what they just used this at. I don't know what this Greek word is. That's not Josephus, is it? Hold on. I don't think that's Josephus. The spelling of Josephus in Greek. Okay. And I of this Greek spelling, the 9th letter making a total of 30. The number 33, the presumed age based on the Gospel of John at which Jesus dies because his ministry there was seemingly for 3 years. 33 was chosen because Alexander the Great died at age 33. Number 36, the total and small numbering of his fictional name. Okay, I think this, no. His fictional name is that same Greek. I haven't picked it up. I don't think this is Josephus. It could be. In the I. Because Josephus doesn't have an I. Hold on. No. I think I'm wrong. Because remember, the I was the J. I think this is Josephus. Okay. Okay. I got it, y'all. Okay. 36. The total and small numbering of his fictional name, Josephus. Even though he had taken the identity of various Josephs, he spelled his swadum with a P instead of an F. The change of letters was etymologically proper in Greek, but also with that spelling, it would total not 33, but 36. And the name of the ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras, from whom he borrowed and refined the numbering systems, totaled 36 by small numbering. In Luke chapter 3, he added to the 57 generations between Jesus and Abraham an additional 21 generations, counting back to Adam and God. He thus deliberately made the total 78. For comparing the 78 generations in Luke chapter 3 and the 42 generations, which is 3 times 14, presumed in Matthew chapter 1 verse 17, gives a difference of 36, which was Josephus. The Jews replied by lighting 36 candles during the 8 nights of Hanukkah, and with the legend of the Lamed Vav, and by spelling and choosing the hymn titled Adam Olam, which totaled 36, and later by spelling a master's good name in such a way that its letters would total 36. The number 40. The number 12, which represented the 12 disciples, was used in the sequence system. The letter M. Hold on. The number 12, which represented the 12 disciples, was, when used in the sequence system, the letter M. Okay, I get it. I was reading the sentence wrong. Okay, I'm going to read it again. The number 12, which represented the 12 disciples, was, when used in the sequence system, the letter M. And by the initial system, that was 40. 40 was also half of 80, which was P for Piso. Hence, 2 M's could represent Piso. That was the reason that Jesus' mother's name was spelled not Miriam, as if in Hebrew, but rather Miriam. For Aria was the feminine form of Piso's true name of Arius, and by putting an M on either end of it, a feminine Arius Piso was pronounced. Piso was the mother as well as the father. Number 41. This was Calpurnius. It has the Greek spelling of Calpurnius and then Calpurnius in English in parentheses. The Greek spelling of his clan name in small numbering. Number 42. The presumed total generations of Jesus' genealogy in Matthew chapter 1. There are actually only 41 generations listed here. The Jewish response was to choose Deshach, Adash, Bak, Akav. They totaled 42. Number 44. This was the expression in small numbering of the middle of his middle son and main assistant and successor, Fabius Justus, and it has his name in Greek lettering and giving you the total of the number. So Fabius equals 18 and Justus equals 26. Together his name totaled 44. That was the reason why Paul, being written and fictionally created by Josephus' son Justus, said in 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 24 that 5 times I received from the Jews 39 lashes. 39 plus 5 was 44, which was the author's true name. That also is the reason 144,000 appears in Revelation chapter 7 verse 4 and Revelation chapter 14 verse 1. And 3rd Julius, the author here, was referring to his brother Fabius Justus. I'm sorry. It used the Greek name and I had to double check what it was again. Fabius Justus, who was 44, coupled with the expression of his family's name, 100 for KP. In reply, the Jews lit 8 shamash candles in addition to the 36 others during Hanukkah, making the total 44. All right, y'all, remember I said stay with me on the numbering system because it's going through everything. And this portion of the numbering system, actually where we stopped at yesterday with the chart, was where, I think 19. It could have been the end of that page. Is where it's like the end of page 7 is where the PDF version stops. So what we're reading today is a portion of what was missing from that PDF. So bear with me while we go through all the numbers, y'all. Okay, number 46. Jesus Christ, and then it puts Jesus Christ in Greek letters, and small numbering. In John chapter 2, verses 20, the Jews tell Jesus it took 46 years to build the temple. Number 47. Pythagoras' most famous theorem was his 47th. That said that the square of the hypotenuse equaled the sum of the squares of the two other sides. Let me read that again. That said that the square of the hypotenuse equaled the sum of the squares of the two other sides. Piso saw himself as the fictional redivivus of so many other greats of history: Josephus, Alexander the Great, Plato, Aristotle, Meno, etc. In short, he became everything from the Alpha of Arius to the Omega of Piso. See Revelation chapter 1, verse 8, Revelation chapter 21, verse 6, and Revelation chapter 22, verse 13. Similarly, he was the new Pythagoras. Therefore, he wrote that his brave defense of Joppa in the Jewish war had lasted 47 days. The number 50. This was represented in Hebrew by the letter Nun, N-U-N. The same word Nun was also the father of the first Joshua. Thus 50 was used as an allusion to the source, the Jewish Joshua, from which Piso borrowed the name for his hero. This Nun had a third meaning. In Aramaic, it meant fish. Therefore, the church made the fish a symbol for Jesus. Number 57. The 57 generations from Abraham to Jesus in Luke chapter 3. A Jewish answer was to choose. What? That's not choose, it's chose. But that don't make sense. Hold on, y'all. Okay, this says chose, but clearly they probably meant choose. I'm going to just read it. A Jewish answer was to choose the half Torah for Yom Kippur in the morning. It was for Yom Kippur. Let me read it again. All right, I'm screwing it up. A Jewish answer was to choose the half Torah for Yom Kippur morning. It is from Isaiah chapter 57, starting at its 14th verse and continuing through to the 14th verse of the following chapter. Number 60. Calpurnius, Piso, and small numbering. That is why in another story in his Jewish antiquities, Piso crucified his alter ego 60 cubits high, and why, in order to answer him, Pesach, Matzah, Umarar was made to total 60. The number 66. Flavius Josephus, 30 plus 36 in small numbering. That was why the church later arranged the Old Testament into 39 books, so that those plus the 27 books of the New Testament would total 66 in all. I'm going to read that again. The number 66. Flavius Josephus, 30 plus 36 in small numbering. That was why the church later arranged the Old Testament into 39 books, so that those plus the 27 books of the New Testament would total 66 in all. The number 67. Expressing the letters of Piso, each in the sequence system gave, and it has the letters. This first one equals 16, the second one equals 9, the next one equals 18, the next one equals 24, and that's a total of 67. The Jews wrote a reply to Piso, which was made to contain 167 verses, that was answering KP is Calpurnius Piso, that was answering KP, which was 100 plus Piso, which was 67 by the sequence system. Later, O Hevel was chosen because it aptly totaled 67. The number 70. An allusion to the Septuagint and also to the family's name as spelled Calpurnius Pison. See footnote, footnote 3. See footnote 3. Okay. Footnote 3 says the spelling Piso was the family name in Latin. In Greek, it was Pison, Peison, whose letters totaled 29 in small numbering, and frequently Piso used 70 in Matthew 18:22 and Luke 10 verse 1 and verse 17, which was a total of 41 and 29 to allude to himself, but rarely did he use 29 alone, for usually he and his family thought in terms of the Latin spelling Piso, Piso, but with the Greek numeral equivalents whose letters totaled 19. It should be noted, however, that Psalm 29 was chosen for singing each Sabbath at conclusion of Torah reading. Okay. That's footnote 3. Okay, that's good to know. Hold on, I gotta find my spot. These words are so small in this book, y'all. Hold on. Okay, 70. An allusion to the Septuagint and also to the family's name as spelled Calpurnius Pison, see footnote 3. Piso wrote both accounts of his day as to how the Septuagint was created. One in his Antiquities, in which the central character is Ariasteos, totaling 19 in small numbering in Greek, and the other entitled The Letter of Aristeas, totaling 16 in small numbering. Each name was merely a longer form of his true name of Arius. Ariasteos and Aristeas were merely yet additional literary alter egos of himself. This cold practice of adding or subtracting portions of a name to disguise but yet keep the basic name is seen in another variation of Piso's true personal name of Arius, El Arontius Stella. Under that name, Piso was patron and friend of the poets Statius and Martial and a Roman consul. A query as to the possible source of the name Artorius or Arthur, as in King Arthur. Number 80. P, which stood for Piso, was 80 in regular numbering, that is, by the initial system. Number 87. That was the secret total of 57 plus 30 in Luke chapter 3, explained above. 87 was also Paz, P-A-Z, in regular numbering in both Greek and Hebrew. Pos, P-O-S, which was almost the same pronunciation, was the final syllable of his Josephus name. The Jews answered with the sons of Pazi, and they made Baruch Shem Omar contain 87 words. The number 96, bear with me, y'all. It's going all the way up to, what number? You guessed it, 666. But it's not going through all the individual numbers. It's starting to multiply. So we really only have about a few more to read. But the last one is 666. Okay. The number 96. This was Alex in regular numbering. That was the shortened form of the name of Piso's first son, Alexander, who died about the year 95. He appeared in the Gospels as Andrew. Pliny married Piso's daughter, Calpurnia, and therefore became like a new son to him, a replacement for Alexander. Hence, he was 96. The particular one of Pliny's public letters in which he wrote to Emperor Trajan concerning his recent alleged persecution of Christian believers was appropriately made to appear as letter number 96 in the 10th volume of his letters. To answer Pliny, the first line of Adon Olam was made to total 96 in small numbering in Hebrew, as was the expression Ma Nish Tana Ha Lela Haze Meko Ha Leos. Number 99. This was the total of Pliny's full name, Gaius Caecilius Secundus Plinos. I probably screwed that up. In small, that's it in small numbering. Number 99. 100. KP by the initial system. So KP represented 100 in the initial system. And it actually did the detail of that, how it equaled to 100, but also 120 yesterday as it go through the chart when I'm using the different numerical systems. Oh, wow. Nasheya. I just closed that door on my first child from my first marriage. She's 41 and drained me. Oh, that's a comment from when we was reading Proverbs. I'm just now seeing that. Dana, hey girl, hey. Okay. Number 100 is KP by the initial system. 120, KP, P as R by the initial system. That is why the gathering of the brethren in Acts, chapter 1, verse 15, consisted of 120. 136 represented KP. KP was 100 plus Josephus for 36. The 120 persons in Acts chapter 1, verse 15, plus the chapter and the verse, their total 136. The Jews answered Piso by making the first lines of Yigdal and Ayin K Elohenu total 136 in Mispar Katan, and by reciting Psalm 136 each Sabbath, and in the Haggadah, oh, that was a period, okay, and by reciting Psalm 136 each Sabbath, and in the Haggadah. Also notice that in Malcolm Hayes' Thy Brother's Blood, Josephus is first mentioned on page 136. The number 144 represents KP, which is 100 plus Fabius Justus, which is 44, and it totals 144. The 144,000 which appear in Revelation. 180 is C from Latin as 100 plus P from Greek as 80. In Acts chapter 27, verse 37, the persons in Paul's boat totaled 276. That was because they were actually just two, 180, which is CP, plus 96, which is Pliny. That is, the two authors of Acts, Pliny and Calpurnius Piso, who in this instance would be Justus. The number 200, C plus P as R. 300. T was 300 in Greek. It was also the symbol of the cross. 316. This was the cross. T equals 300 plus P, which is the 16th letter. Vorik was chosen because it was like a form of Piso's hero's name, totaled 316 in regular numbering. Vorik was taken from Isaiah chapter 30, verse 7, as was also Hevel, with the mere addition of Lamed, which is 30. Allegorically, the New Testament could be seen as authored mainly by Piso, Mr. Hevel v. Reek. The number 600, which is X in Greek, which was pronounced ch, I think it's chi, right? Ch, CH. It has CH in, the in parentheses. X in Greek. 600 is X in Greek, which was pronounced ch, was the first letter of Christos or Christ, and it was also 600 in the initial system. The 600 stood for Christ. Later it reappeared as the 600 who rolled into the valley of death. The last number, 666. The number which pertained to the beast in Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. This will be explained below. The Pisos use the numbers all through the New Testament in various ways again and again. Piso teased that even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Matthew 10, verse 30. There were no copyright laws then, and their use of code was like copywriting their work. That way, no future authors could steal the honor which they wish for their memories forever by claiming, even secretly, that the work was theirs. But then, Piso's oldest living son, Julius, who was John as a little boy in the Synoptic Gospels, became angry at the family. As Julius Severus, he had just destroyed Bar Kokhba in the year which is now 135 CE, and in parentheses it has AD. But instead of rewarding him, his surviving brother Justus and Justus's friend Emperor Hadrian, who was under his thumb, had named. Let me read that again. Hold on. I gotta keep this book close to my face. Letters are so small. As Julius Severus, he had just destroyed Bar Kokhba in the year which is now 135 CE AD. But instead of rewarding him, his surviving brother Justus and Justus's friend Emperor Hadrian, who was under his thumb, had named sister Claudia's son Antonius to succeed Hadrian. Julius felt his own grandson should have been chosen successor instead, but Hadrian even specified that his two own young kinsmen should be emperors after Antonius. So in 136 through 137, Julius retaliated by writing Revelation, and in it turning the number code against the family. I'll read that again. Gil Shalom. So in 136 through 137, Julius retaliated by writing Revelation, and in it turning the number code against the family. He ridicules Pliny, who was number 27, making the beast in Revelation chapter 13, verse 1, 14, and therefore his own father, have 10 horns. He made the beast in that chapter and verse of Revelation have 10 horns, 7 heads, and 10 diadems, which totaled 27. He makes his own dead father into the dragon, who acts for 42 months. Matthew 1 verse 17. Oh, okay. Matthew 1, 17. Then it has a semicolon. 3 times 14. That is Jesus. In Revelation chapter 13, verse 5. The 7 angels have 7 plagues, a total of 14. In Revelation chapter 15, verse 6. He is most vicious toward his father in Revelation chapter 13, verse 8, by saying the number of the beast was 666. 600, which was Christos. Hold on. 600, which was Christos by the initial system, plus 66, which was, what was 66? Flavius Josephus in small numbering. That is, Daddy and his creation, Christ. Some ancient manuscripts have this as 616, but the result is the same. For 16 is P by the sequence system, and P stood for Piso. So 616 is Piso plus Christ. So those numbers, some people may have. There are actually a couple documentaries out there. And I think one of the ones, Morgan Freeman did one of the ones. I'm gonna look that one up and find out which one it was. I know I shared a couple weeks ago with Morgan Freeman in there about the code of God. That's not what it was called, but they were talking about this and the mark of the beast. But they realized that 666 in regards to this and 616 were actually the same thing, and they could actually be used interchangeably, right? So the mark of the beast would be 666 or 616, which still they both represented and pointed to Piso. Okay, so I'll read this little paragraph again. He is most vicious toward his father in Revelation chapter 13, verse 18, by saying the number of the beast was 666. 600, which was Christos by the initial system, plus 66, Flavius Josephus by small numbering. That is, Daddy and his creation, Christ. Some ancient manuscripts have this as 616, but the result is the same. For 16 is P by the sequence system, and P stood for Piso. So 616 is Piso plus Christ. In that same verse, Julius derides his father yet another way that involved a fourth Greek numerical code system, regular, not small numbering in words and entire phrases. The total of the phrase introducing the number of the beast and his number was made to be 1,702 in regular numbering, so that when 666 was added to it, the total was 2,368. And that was the identical total, also in regular numbering, of the names Jesus Christ. Each was 2,368. And right here, it has the example, and it's totaling the names, right? Jesus. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Is it Jesus Christos? Yep, right there. Look at it, y'all. Screenshot it. I'm going to show it on Facebook, too. Make sure it's not blurry. Screenshot it, and that way you can come back and look at it later. Or you might be able to look at it while you're watching. All right. Hold on. Make sure it's not blurry. Okay. It look like it's good. So screenshot. I don't know if that look backwards to y'all. It looks backwards to me. But it may look okay to y'all. Okay. All right. So both sides, they clearly you can see they total it up. And for both of them, they both equal 2,368. Julius must have thought his being married to Hadrian's sister, in which capacity Roman history knows him as Julius Servanus, would protect him. But they took him to Rome and executed him. In his fictional identity as the disciple John, Julius would be the only New Testament disciple not martyred, because Julius was the only son, in fact, martyred for opposition.
I can open this for us. Don't fit her.
You cannot. That's not for you. This is for baby doll. That's not yours. That's for baby doll, baby doll. I'll buy you one. I'll buy you one for yours. But that's her gift for her baby doll. Let me read this again. Julius must have thought his being married to Hadrian's sister, in which capacity Roman history knows him as Julius Servanus, would protect him. But they took him to Rome and executed him. In his fictional identity as the disciple John, Julius would be the only New Testament disciple not martyred, because Julius was the only son, in fact, martyred for opposition to the great creation. All right, so that is the end of the number system. The next section, we have 56 minutes. The next section is sounds, animals, and illusions. And it's Sunday, so I'm going to read it. And I think I'll go all the way up to, I'll read the next two sections, the sounds, animals, and illusions, and the family in the New Testament. So I think this one is a little bit long. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll stop there for today. Okay, the next section. Sounds, animals, and illusions. For such men, through fair speech and flattering speech, deceive the hearts of the guileless. And that's found in Romans chapter 16, verse 18. In addition to their use of the various number systems, the Pisos also used a variety of other methods of code. They used sounds including per, P-U-R, from Calpurnius, por from Calpurnius, and that they spell this Calpurnius in Greek. The spelling of the name in Greek, pass or paz, P-A-S-S or paz, P-A-Z, from Piso's fictional name, which was spelled which was spelled Josephus, and it has the Greek spelling of Josephus in Greek. No historian ever mentions that Josephus spells his name with a P instead of an F in Greek, for they too are inner circle members. Other sounds used are shur, S-H-U-R, from Genesis 49:22, in which Josephus appeared as a fruitful bough with its branches running over the wall, and wall there being in Hebrew shur, S-H-U-R. Also shy, S-H-Y, which was Aramaic for gift, and alluding to the great gift, Jesus, which Josephus created. Also, animals were and are used as allusions to Josephus. Number 1, the camel. Camillus was the Roman general who destroyed Veii, capital of the Etruscans, and until then an obstacle to Rome's expansion on the Italian peninsula. Piso saw Jerusalem with its temple, which was the heart of Judaism, as the new Veii. Hence, he was the new Camillus or camel. Examples in the Gospels are the camel and the needle, the gnat and the camel-haired garment of John the Baptist. When we reverse the order of the first two letters of, let's see what this word is again. Oh, it's another name for Josephus, which is the KP, which is the number 136. Okay. I'm going to just say Josephus. Okay. When we reverse the order of the first two letters of Josephus and add the name of that city, the result is Oy Vey. Number 2, the leopard or panther, a symbol of the goddess Sybil, which also was composited by Piso into the Jesus figure. Hold on. A symbol of the goddess Sybil, which also was composited by Piso into the Jesus figure, was a panther. This is source of Puss in Boots, cat with 9 lives, many ways to skin a cat. That was also why Jesus was called Ben Pantiri, Pantiri. Number 3, the horse. Piso, with its letters rearranged and extra P. Piso with its letters rearranged and an extra P added becomes Ippos, I-P-P-O-S in Greek, which is horse. The horse's mouth and its donkey lead a horse to water, horse laugh, etc. The second coming or rapture, which is Humpty's fall, is when all the king's horses won't put him back together again. I'm going to read that again. The horse, Piso with its letters rearranged and an extra P added, becomes Ippos in Greek, which is horse. The horse's mouth and its donkey lead a horse to water, horse laugh, etc. The second coming or the rapture, which is Humpty's fall, is when all the king's horses won't put him back together again. Okay, the Humpty Dumpty nursery rhyme. Number 4, the cock or the chicken. A priest of Sybil and Attis was called a Gallus in Rome because the Gallus was the name of the river in western Turkey from which the area of the Romans stole that particular pair of goods. Hey, babe.
What's up, babe?
Gaul, specifically province, was where the Pisos had estates, and Gallus meant a chicken in Latin. Before the cock crows, Simon Peter, you will deny me 3 times. That was why Malka was destroyed through a cock and a hen. Also, Jesus as a hen gathering her chickens in Matthew chapter 23, verse 37. Cock and bull, cocksure, cock of the walk, peacock, poppycock.
So
And
what?
you would come down when I get to that part.
I thought you were trying to say something.
No, I wasn't. It is
Come
really
on.
right here.
Okay, I'm just saying. Hey.
Look.
Hey.
He would walk down here right when we get to that part, because y'all know, like, he be trying to throw in little sly jokes.
Put it out there.
Okay, look.
Say it again.
I'm about to read it again. Hold on. Let me just start it over, y'all. So you get the full context. We actually talking about something here. The cock or the chicken.
Say it.
A priest of Cybele and Attis was called a Gallus in Rome, because the Gallus was the name of the river in western Turkey from which area the Romans stole that particular pair of gods. Gaul, specifically province, was where the Pisos had estates, and Gallus meant a chicken in Latin. Before the cock crows, Simon Peter, you will deny me 3 times. That is why Malka was destroyed through a cock and a hen. Also, Jesus was a hen gathering her chickens in Matthew 23, verse 37. Cock and bull, cocksure, cock of the walk, peacock, poppycock, and the chicken, which is Piso, on whom we put our sins, instead of the temple he destroyed with its 27 minim, plural of men, M-I-N, which was short for Minos, M-I-N-O-S, Erev Yom Kippur, and the term Gallus, G-O-L-L-U-S, for the dispersion which he ultimately caused. It was only after the second destruction that Jewish literature referred to both dispersions as Gallus, G-O-L-L-U-S. Piso saw himself as the new Greek Moses. He secretly used the identity of Minos Redivus, for Minos was the reputed ancient lawgiver of Crete. Another Minos was king of ancient Crete. The name Minos in Greek small numbering totaled 19, the same as did Piso. Thus Pliny, writing as Paul in the epistle to Titus, actually to Julius in the New Testament, boasts that all Cretans are liars. Titus chapter 2 verse 12. He is quoting from Eponymide, another Cretan, but Pliny also adds, this report is true. Titus chapter 2 verse 13. The rabbis noticed, and they began to refer to Christianity as Minus and to Piso as the men or ha-men. On occasion, they changed the 2 vowels to Komatz, K-O-M-A-T-Z. They teased Afikumen, A-F, and y'all probably familiar with that if y'all, practice anything in the Hebrew faith. Afikumen, A-F-I-K-U apostrophe M-I-N. Matter of fact, let me go to this reference. So, just in case you don't know what it is, it's reference 1 in that section. And I'll read you what the Afikumen is. Hold on. Okay. Make sure I don't lose my spot. Okay. Josephus had inserted in his Jewish war a tower he called Afiku, where he said Jews had assembled only to flee on the advance of Sestus Gallus. That's Volume 2, page 513. The same sound, Afiku, in Aramaic meant you shall cast out, and adding men to it happened to produce the same sound as the Greek afikomen, a form of aphiniome, which meant to arrive at, to come or reach. Another form appears as aphikito in Romans chapter 16, verse 19, with the meaning came or has come abroad. Okay, so let's go back here. The rabbis noticed, and they began to refer to Christianity as menace and to Piso as the men or ha-men. On occasion, they changed the two vowels to kamats. They teased afikumen. Hold on. They teased afikumen. You shall cast out the men. And they said nafka mina. And they claimed they too had 4 minim. Later in Adon Olam, their descendants would sing that God, and not Piso, is my minos and the minos of my cup.
Mom,
Yes, babe.
you buy this.
I'll think about it.
I want it.
Okay. Henry Felding too noticed, and he inserted menace as a character in his A Journey from This World to the Next. He also had the story contain book 1 with 25 chapters and then skipped to book 19, chapter 7. With each, he was teasing at Matthew chapter 1 with its 25 verses and its total of 26. Piso used various other allusions to himself. The name Piso was supposedly derived from the Latin word pistor, which originally meant one who ground, specifically flour, and hence a miller of flour or a baker. Now we know why Sherlock Holmes lived on Baker Street and why there were 24 blackbirds baked into a pie, or actually it says, and why there were 24 blackbirds baked into a piso. Piso means pie. And the butcher Titus, who slaughtered the Jews, and the baker Piso, and the candlestick maker, the light of the world Jesus, and the gingerbread house in the trail of breadcrumbs. That is the source for the expression, may their bones be ground to dust, and for the expression in the martyrology, I probably said that wrong. Martyrology. I think it's martyrology. Okay. That is the source for the expression, may their bones be ground to dust, and for the expression in the martyrology of the 10 rabbis recited on Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av, that the strangers or Romans consumed them as a cake unturned is consumed by fire, and for the custom of Tashlik on Rosh Hashanah, in which we cast out our sins by casting breadcrumbs from our pockets out and onto the water. That is also why the temple was destroyed, because of Campsa and Bar Campsa. Campsa was from Comets, which meant a handful of meal, which was coarse flour, and the flour was the substance of the baker. Y'all might have to go back through and listen to me read that again. I'm going to move to this next section, the family in the New Testament, and then we're going to pause at the creation of the church, and we'll read that tomorrow. She over here opening this up. Okay. Section 6, the family in the New Testament. I and thee, Father, are one. John chapter 10, verse 30. The Pisos claim descent from Calpus, and Calpus, which starts with a K in Greek, whom they claim was the son of Numa Pompilius, successor of Romulus, who founded Rome. The Calpurnian clan descended from Calpus, and the Pisos were the most prominent family in the Calpurnian clan. Changing the A to a O produced Kolpos, Kolpos, which was Greek for bosom. That is why Lazarus was in the bosom of Abraham in Luke chapter 16, verse 23, and why the only begotten Son was in the bosom of the Father in John chapter 1, verse 18, and why the beloved disciple leaned on Jesus' bosom in John chapter 13, verse 23. That is also why, after the resurrection, Jesus met Cleopas in Luke chapter 24, verse 18, and Miriam is wife of Clopas, John chapter 19, verse 25. Piso and his sons and Pliny moved through the New Testament under various names. In the Gospels, starting with Matthew, Jesus, or Josephus, has basically only 3 disciples, John, James, and Simon Peter. All the other 9 disciples are shadowy alter egos of these 3. The 3 are really his 3 sons, Julius, Justus, and Proculus, inserted into the first gospel when still little boys. In addition, his 4th son, Alexander, appears as the 4th but less important disciple, Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter. The New Testament mentions 9 different Simons plus 2 Simeons and 6 different Jameses and Johns and Judases. Most of these were honorable insertions of Piso's 3 sons. Julius played the Judases as well as the Johns. When Piso plays Joseph, the 3 main disciples are his 3 real sons, and Jesus is his literary son. When Piso plays Jesus, his sons become Jesus' brothers. Thus, Jesus has 4 brothers. Matthew chapter 13, verse 55.
Can you help me press 1?
No, this time press 2. If you put all that in there, press 2. Oh, no, you need to end it. No, never mind. Just press start. Press start. Press start again. Press start again. All right, it took it to 2 minutes. Each time you press start, it'll add 30 seconds. All right, now you're good. Wait. Yeah, okay, you good.
It's at 3.
Okay. Thus, Jesus has 4 brothers, Matthew 13, verse 55, who are really Piso's 4 sons, including Alexander. Father plays all the Josephs. First, he is Joseph the carpenter. Later, he is Joseph of Arimathea, who buries Jesus. Joseph the carpenter drops from the story when Jesus starts his ministry, because Piso cannot be in the story as 2 main roles simultaneously. Then Joseph reappears after the crucifixion to bury his literary son. Then in Acts of the Apostles, he reappears as Joseph the Levite, whose name is quickly changed to Barnabas. Acts chapter 4, verse 36. Thus he plays both the Son, Jesus, and the Father, Joseph the carpenter, and God. Father and Son were in fact one. Each was Piso. Shakespeare described the double identity in Pericles' Prince of Tyre. In its great riddle, supposedly alluding to incest, but actually to Piso's double role, Shakespeare wrote, "He's father, son, and husband mild." And in As You Like It, he wrote, "One man plays many parts." Notice how he put Shakespeare in here because he knew about Shakespeare too. Joanne, hey sis. In Acts chapter 19, verse 29, and Acts chapter 20, verse 4, written by his son Justus, Josephus is inserted under the name Aristarchus and is a companion of Pliny who appears under 2 of his actual names, Gaius and Secundus. It was appropriate that Piso have the pseudonym Aristarchus, for Aristo was the name of Plato's father. Similarly, it is as Titus Aristo that Josephus entered Roman jurisprudence. What? I'm going to read that sentence again. Similarly, it is as Titus Aristotle that Josephus entered Roman jurisprudence. Under that name, he was a famous Roman jurist cited in Justinan's Digest centuries later. In the New Testament, Piso is also Aquila, which meant eagle, and Prisca or Priscilla is his wife. His wife's true name was Bonia Priscilla or Procilla. She also appears in 2 Timothy, written by their son Justus as Lois. Fittingly, she appears in literature as Superman's wife and Timothy's grandmother. Justus was his father's main successor. When Justus and his father started the writing of Acts, Justus played Paul, the hero, and his father had created and played the role of Jesus. At the same time, about year 96, his father was preparing to write his Vita, and in it, Piso would insert Justus as his true name. Justus twice, between his brothers Hyrcanus, actually Julius, who was in the New Testament John, and Agrippa or Simonides, who was actually Proculus in the New Testament Simon. In his Vita, remember the Vita is a biography, right? You know what? I'll ask him, Gil. I'll ask him. Is he a student? Is Ricardo James a student? If he's a student, he may not know. We just do the work out there at Norfolk State. You know, the dorm furniture and administration office furniture. Unless he works in one of those areas. Okay. In his Vita, Piso makes Justus an alleged Jewish historian who had written a conflicting history of the Jewish war and falsely accused him, Josephus, of causing his native Tiberius to revolt against Rome. He tells of Justus's career as the revolutionary leader at Tiberias and says his father was Pistos, seemingly because pistis, P-I-S-T-I-S, was the Greek for faith and could also be seen as akin to the name Piso, as was Pistor, P-I-S-T-O-R, in Latin. He gives Justus a brother or brother-in-law named Jesus. Justus appears in his own Acts chapter 1, verse 23. Justus appears in...
You still over here doing this?
Yes, son.
You over here stressing my mama out?
No.
She over here reading y'all these books?
Boy,
You
move.
don't let her get her rest? She already stressed out enough with these children.
No, I'm not. I don't get stressed, son. And it is my joy and my pleasure to read. They just joining me while I read out loud. Bye. Justus appears in his own Acts chapter 1, verse 23. Joseph called Barsabas, who was also called Justus, for he is hinting that he has become the new Jophus or Josephus, the new father of the story. Justus's name appears again in Acts chapter 18, verse 7 as Titius Justus. A few years later, about the year 105, Justus writes the Gospel of John. In it, he stresses repeatedly, especially in chapters 10, 12, 14, and 16, that he is sent by his Father and his representative. He is teasing that the Father, whose work he is continuing, is his own, Piso. He names this Gospel after his brother Julius's Suedum, and himself plays the role of Jesus in it. There is no disciple James mentioned in this gospel, despite the importance of James as one of the three chief disciples in the synoptic gospels, because Justus is playing the lead role, Jesus, and therefore he cannot insert himself in the story as two main characters at the same time. Shortly after writing the Gospel of John in 105 and playing the lead Jesus in it, Justus, under his identity of Paul, assisted by his son Julianus, Suedum Timothy, writes the epistle to the Colossians, and in it, at Colossians chapter 4, verse 11, they refer to Justus proudly as Jesus, who was called Justus. His father, too, had hinted that Justus and Jesus had become identical. For in his Vita, having made Justus the revolutionary leader at Tiberias, he later gave Tiberius' chief magistrate the name Jesus. Justus would live on into the reign of his nephew Antonius, Claudia Phoebe's elder son, which commenced in 138 and would then write as Justinus, the longer form of Justus, the witness, that is, Justin Martyr, church father. In his dialogue with Trypho, he would boast that prayers in the name of Jesus were being offered by every race of men. Pliny shared with Justus the writings of Acts and the Pauline epistles. Pliny's first chapter in Acts was chapter 18. At verse 7, he inserted Justus as Titius Justus because now that Pliny was the writer and hence also playing the lead character Paul, Justus could not play Paul but needed a new identity. And we almost done with this section, y'all. Then in Acts chapter 18, verse 24, and Acts chapter 19, verse 1, Pliny gives Justus another name, Apollos. He is secretly the former Paul, or Paulus, and that's two different spellings, Paulus and Pollus. He is secretly the former Paulus, with an A added. Within a couple of years, Pliny would write 1 Corinthians. Again, he repeatedly inserted Justus as Apollos. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 12, chapter 3, verses 4 through 6, and verse 22, chapter 4 of 1 Corinthians, verse 6, and chapter 16, verse 12 of 1 Corinthians. Because as the writer, Pliny was himself playing the lead role Paul. And when Pliny wrote as Paul the epistle unto Titus or Julius, again he put Justus in as Apollos. That's in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 13. Unlike Justus, who would live on into the 140s, Pliny would perish in 116 in western Parthia while fighting the Jews and Parthians. This war was connected with the second great Jewish revolt of 115 through 117 against the Piso's Roman Empire. Gil, you said Ricardo went to school there in 1998. Oh, I can tell you without even asking my husband that he don't know him. In 1998, my husband was in Illinois. Matter of fact, we both had just graduated the year prior in 1997. So I'm certain that he doesn't know Ricardo James. Okay. In addition, hold on, I skipped the whole paragraph. Pliny's death was under his military name, Maximus, the Great One. Later, Maxima, the feminine form of his suedum, would be combined with the feminine form of the name Piso, founder, Calpus, with also the change of vowel to produce the expression Maxima Culpa. In addition to repeatedly inserting themselves into the story, the Pisos hint at their family's relationship to the Herods. Greek Herodian, my kinsman, says Romans 16, verse 11. It is authored by Proculus, Piso's third living son, who inserts himself as the writer Tertius the third in Romans chapter 16, verse 22. Among Jesus' followers is Joanna, the wife of Chusa, steward of Herod, and that's Luke chapter 8, verse 3. Manaen who in the original Greek is literally foster brother of Herod the Tetrarch, is one of the prophets and teachers of the young church in Antioch in Acts chapter 13, verse 1. The family also put their friends into the story. Justice inserted Cornelius Tacitus, the Roman historian. He became Cornelius, the Roman centurion, in Acts chapter 10, who was devout and feared God. He was also Cornutus Tertullus, the prosecuting attorney against Paul, in Acts chapter 24, verses 1 through 2. Tacitus reciprocated by dedicating his dialogue on oratory shortly after the year 100 to Dear Fabius Justus. Piso's father's friend and encourager, Annius Seneca, also appears. He is the Ananias who cures Paul's blindness in Acts chapter 9, verses 17 through 18, and he is the Aeneas whose I know how to say that word. Paralysis. I was about to say paralysis. And he is the Aeneas whose paralysis Peter cures in Jesus' name in Acts chapter 9, verses 33 through 34. Aeneas was an appropriate name also because, according to some accounts, Aeneas was the father or grandfather of Romulus. Virgil said it was to Aeneas that a star shot down from heaven, disclosing to him the spot at which Rome should be established. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. And we read pages 7 all the way to 14. That was 7 pages. It seemed like it was way longer than that, but these pages, the letters on these pages are so small. Hold on. But it's a lot condensed into this little book in these small pages. All right, beautiful people. So we'll pick the rest of this back up with section 7, the creation of the church, tomorrow when we come back. And I think we actually might finish it. It depends. If I start adding in my stories and stuff in. So I say within the next 2 days we'll be finished with this, and then we'll move on to the book we was going to read, Jesus Never Existed. Okay. All right, beautiful people. I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. It is December the 5th, 2021, day 319 of year 3 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 987. Remember, that daily count is without the Sabbath days or the feast days, Sabbath days added into the count. Because if it was, we'd be well over the 1,000-day mark, right? We just a few days shy of that now. But remember, there are 52 Sabbaths in a year, so that's already 100 days for 2 years, and we're in year 3. Add the Sabbaths that we've already have already passed in this year 3, and you can add the count up, right? All right, y'all. So we read pages 7 through 14 in the true authorship of the New Testament. And also, if you go into the description, y'all, I have the link to the PDF version, but what we're reading now, we're going over the pages that weren't added to that. So you won't see those in here, which is why we're rereading this now, the actual printed copy, because when I read it the first time, we read the PDF version because I couldn't find this. It was wedged between one of my other books, and so we used the PDF copy. But I knew even when we was reading it, something was missing. All right. I understand why the Pisos did this to be remembered, but why did they attack Judaism? Were they jealous of Yah? Oh yeah, that's the whole point. Remember, the Caesars wanted to be worshipped as God, and everybody else had bowed to them. The Piso family, remember, all of them, they connect to the Caesars and Herod. All of them they connect, whether it's by bloodline or through marriage. But those who were ruling Rome, they looked at themselves as God, right? And they wanted people to worship them as God. And every other nation fell under their spell, and they began to worship them as God and creator or whatever, except for the Hebrews. They refused to, and that pissed them off, right? So that's why they were always at war, because they was always trying to subdue the Hebrews, and they won't have none of it. right? So they got a little bit smarter. They said the only way we're going to be able to defeat them and bring them under our subjection, because they're going to worship us. They don't know it, but we're going to get them to worship us. We got to get them by the laws they keep, which is why they began going after the Torah, their laws and their commands. That's why things were added, things were taken away. They constantly kept burning the Torah. They were infiltrating our ranks with those of us who were able to be infiltrated, who were wishy-washy already, all that stuff. Yeah. The next book, MP, the next book is, I just mentioned it, is called Jesus Never Existed. It's a small book. It's probably, actually, I think I showed it to y'all already. I may have, I may not, but I think I did. I'll bring it out tomorrow so you can see. But I'll post the title and the link, like the Amazon link where I got mine from, and you can get it from there. I think it was like $9. But you can check and see if there's a Kindle version. I'm not sure. I didn't check on the Kindle version. I just actually ordered a printed copy. But there could be a Kindle version, so I don't know. Like I said, I checked, but the link will be there today. Give me a few minutes and I'll get all that stuff added up. I ain't gonna say right after the video because I need to cook my husband something to eat. He was down here side-eyeing me. He asked me before I came down here, so after I end this, I'm gonna go ahead and cook, and then give me 2 hours, y'all, and then I get that stuff uploaded so you can see it. But you can go Google it. Jesus Never Existed. I think the author's last name, I think it was like Humphreys or something like that. I think it, but don't quote me. Just look for Jesus Never Existed book and it'll pop up. Okay. All right, so with that being said, beautiful people, let's go ahead and do the blessing. Bella. About to do the blessing, Tootie. The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And also, don't forget, when we was talking about Proverbs, I said I was going to share something else, a little bit of help for the married couples. It might be helpful for you. I'm going to share it. I'll find some cute picture of me and my husband, and I'll post it up there.
Mom, I'm going to do the blessing too.
She going to do the blessing too? Okay. All right. So Ava is going to help us do the blessing today, y'all. Okay.
Her compare her hands up.
She gonna put her hands up too? She gonna raise them to y'all? Okay, put her hands up.
What?
Okay, Ava.
And that's what her can do.
What she can do?
This.
She gonna do that? She gonna cross them? Okay. All right.
And then can do this.
Isn't Ava so beautiful? She sat through one of Bella's makeup classes. She went a little heavy on the blush. She didn't know whether she wanted to put freckles on her face or give her a full, so she kind of be a half and half.
And Mom, this is clean up here.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very clean. It's very
and over
clean.
here.
Oh, what you about to do? You just said you got something. No, I literally just told him, let me get out here and cook him some breakfast. What you about to do?
I ain't eating breakfast in 2 weeks.
Well, that's true because we went back and forth to Richmond. I'm so glad we found you, all right? Where you about to go?
You didn't see on the message about to sell these 2 cabinets.
Oh, you still want me to cook?
Please?
Call me when you're on your way back.
Will do.
What time they coming?
No, they said they on their way. Look at the message.
Oh, yeah. I saw it pop up, but I couldn't see all of it.
Look, it is. It is.
Oh, okay. Well, call
Mommy.
me when you're on your way back so
Mommy.
it'll be nice and hot.
Mom, look. It is. Guess what?
What?
It is
What is that?
Saturday.
It is up there. Today is Sunday, though, right here. You say that's Saturday.
And both of these Saturdays.
Oh, well, that actually says Sabbath, but this is Saturday right here.
Y'all would have a conversation. What y'all doing?
Okay.
Table talk? What y'all on?
Okay, y'all, look, let's do this blessing real quick.
I want some table talk.
How long is it going to take you?
I don't know, man. I'm just gonna go up and sell it to them. I probably gotta move the box truck so they can get some of this.
Daddy, I can go.
So they can, baby, you go with me next time. So they can back up to the dock
Okay.
and get it that way. I don't know. They said they got some. The other person, they said they got some help. So.
Okay, well, yeah, let them load it up. Okay, well, just let me know. So I'll start cooking when you say you on your way. So When you walking in the door, I can be handing you your plate.
Take out that fish.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
love you, mama. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Hit you. Love you, mom.
Love you.
You love me?
Okay, y'all.
All right, I'm out of here, y'all.
Okay, babe. All right. So the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. You ready? Put it down. Raise our hands to the Most High, the Most Holy. Ava got her hands up. Hands up, girl. Hands up. Hands up, Ava.
Let's put her hands on hers.
Okay, okay, stand up. I was just trying to get her to stand up so she can raise her hands to the Most High. All right. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise, ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us presenting gifts, and he will guard us with a hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up the wholeness of his being.
That's it. The blessing.
Yeah, the blessing. All right, beautiful people. That's it. I love y'all.
Jemima
You know
go?
what? No, Jeremiah didn't go. That's Dad. Good as Dad. Okay, so, well,
Well, I said Jemima go.
since my husband had to run to the warehouse real quick, I guess, give me a few minutes and all those things that I said I was going to post, I'll go ahead and post it now since I got the time. A few minutes. All right, y'all. Love y'all. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bruce, girl, your finger is all in the way. That's what they see. Nothing but your finger. All right. All right, y'all.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, Lord have mercy. Go ahead. Say bye. Bye.
Don't let her press it.